Today, I'm tackling a subject that's so tender. Why did my partner cheat on me? And if this question is relevant to you in any way, I want to first wrap you up in a big hug. Because, sweetheart, this is so hard to move through. If you've read my book, Undone, Unafraid, you know I've been where you are, and I know very intimately that no matter which side of the coin you're on this one, whether you're the cheater or the cheatee, this is so tough. So please take a deep breath with me. Maybe put your hand on your heart and feel your exhale go all the way down to your feet. Here you are in your body in this moment, and you're here showing up as just a human being with all the limitations and flaws and beauty and humanity that entails. And even though it's so hard right now, I want you to know first and foremost, you're going to make it. And that what you're going through right now can actually become a vehicle in your life that's going to help you be more healed, more whole, and more fully human than you ever realized was possible. Okay? Are you with me? Today, I want to talk to you about 3 absolutely crucial truths you need to know if you're going to go through this in a way that expands you. And these are truths that it took me literally years to figure out. So I hope these can serve you and make your path a little easier than mine was. The first crucial truth: your partner's infidelity does not mean that you are not enough. Now, this is one of those things that's easy to say out loud, but harder to believe, because it is so common for betrayed partners to just automatically internalize this message, and it is just a travesty. When I was at the beginning of my betrayal trauma journey, I sat in 12-step trauma recovery circles and repeated this phrase every single week for probably over 2 years before I finally believed that it was true in my bones. And it wasn't time itself that cured me of the belief that my partner's infidelity was about my own not enoughness. It was the work I was doing that created the opening to shift this belief in a really embodied way. And you can read about this in great detail in my book, Undone, Unafraid. So I know from my own experience that I can't convince you that you're enough. And honestly, it's important for you to realize that nobody can convince you of this, including your partner. Whether your partner stays or whether your partner goes, ultimately, nothing they do or don't do can convince you of the fact that you're enough if you don't believe it in yourself. Nobody else can give you that witness. You've got to find it within you. So, how the hell do I do that, right? Please, somebody tell me. This is the existential question of like 95% of Americans. And this is the spiritual work, dear one. And for me, it was a daily practice of quieting my mind, feeling my feelings through my body, and then turning to a higher power of my own understanding over and over and over again with my pain. And that can look any which way that feels authentic and safe to you as far as that higher power is concerned. For me, and the way I work with my clients, meditation is a big piece of this, and we access that higher power or the divine aspect of life in all sorts of different ways. Sometimes we might visualize light and allow it to pour over our body. Sometimes we find ourselves in meditation in a safe space and feel ourselves grounded like the roots of a tree, and we allow that natural world to be that safety and that sacred part of life that we can trust in and rely on and rest in. For some people, it's really healing to bring in ancestors and make space for whatever wisdom they want to offer. And for many people, connecting with younger versions of yourself through meditation brings unexpected clarity and wisdom. Some people feel really safe with a religious concept of God, and others feel trauma around a religious concept of God. But I want you to know that you can access the part of you that is already whole, that already knows it is inseparable from love, that on some level it is love, no matter what your beliefs are. All you have to do is keep making space to come home to yourself, to be willing to explore what's inside yourself. And there's an intuitive wisdom there that can lead you home. And once you know that place in yourself, well, you don't have to believe that you're good enough and that your partner's behavior isn't really about you. Once you know that place inside yourself, you'll know your enoughness all the way down to your bones. So that's your first crucial truth. The second crucial truth, the answer to this question, why did my partner cheat on me, is way bigger than you or your relationship. People are often so quick to start analyzing and playing the blame game when they hear about infidelity or relationship drama. But the real answer to why we end up here is so much deeper than that. It really comes down to the ways we see ourselves in the world, the coping strategies we've developed since we were tiny little humans trying to survive in the world, and the expectations we bring to relationship. And a really good resource for you here is going to be my video on healing relationship patterns, and I'll link that below for you. But the reality is that we all learn coping strategies that help us feel safe in our childhood. So these protective patterns started way before your partner even met you. For some of us, those strategies look like abandoning before we get abandoned. For others of us, those strategies look like people-pleasing and obsessive codependent behavior that grows a lot of resentment. And these strategies can be triggered by so many different life situations, really anything that taps us into those vulnerable or insecure feelings inside of ourselves that we don't want to feel. So we might feel vulnerable in our job and wind up in a coping strategy that looks like being really dissatisfied in our marriage. And we can even convince ourselves that our partner is the problem when we don't have the self-awareness that we're really triggered by a vulnerability somewhere else in our life, and that this is how we're coping with that feeling so we don't have to feel it. It all gets very complicated and very messy, and it takes time and effort and patience and space to peel it all apart and start to take ownership of what's really happening inside of us and how we've reacted to that and how our response has affected the people around us. That's the work of mindfulness. And it's like a slow peeling off the layers of the onion kind of thing. That's why one of my favorite clients, who's been with me now over 3 years, often refers to himself as an ogre who keeps showing up each week to peel back another layer of the onion. Because he keeps feeling the progress that comes from that steady, consistent work of showing up and being willing to see himself more clearly. So that's your second crucial truth. How you really got here is way bigger than you and way bigger than your relationship. It has to do with your partner's coping strategies and how they're working with their own feelings of vulnerability and insecurity in every aspect of their life. The third crucial truth, while my partner's infidelity is not my fault, it is an opportunity for me to grow and come to know and love myself better. Now, I want to be careful here because I am not saying that because your partner cheated on you, you need to fix something in yourself. And I want to name how common that fixing response is. In fact, the first weeks after my husband's disclosure, I found myself researching what it would cost or look like to get a boob job. If you can't tell, I did not follow through on that impulse. It's just not me. But I have a lot of compassion for the impulse because when we experience betrayal, this for most people is going to constitute a big T trauma in your life. And your body is going to go into shock and be flipped into all kinds of physiological chaos of the limbic system, that freeze, fight, flight brain. And that's just absolute reactivity. And why is it doing that? Because it's desperately trying to find a way to regain a sense of control and safety. When your partner discloses a hidden life, it is so natural to feel just a complete loss of power and control. And so if we're not conscious, we can really lose ourselves in unconscious grasping to find some way to feel in control again. And I want you to have compassion for that. It makes sense that your body and brain is doing that. But I also want you to see it for what it is. A survival coping strategy that's probably just going to add to the chaos. And I want you to find a higher impulse. Dig for a deeper self, a wiser response, a higher intention. Experiencing this kind of trauma will test you to your core and push you to your limit. It will make you face all the ugly things in yourself you never wanted to see, that you've spent most of your life trying to run away from. And it will turn up the volume on the most cruel voice in your head. You didn't get to choose this experience. You didn't get to pick this road, and that sucks. But dear one, here you are. Like it or not, this is your reality right now. So my message for you, carefully and with compassion, is that when you're ready and you feel that you have the bandwidth, you can do more than survive this. You can use this. You can use it like you did choose it, to become stronger, to love yourself more fiercely, to face the demons you might never have had to face otherwise. And you can do it. With the right support, the right tools, the right grounding and framework to come back to you, you can do this. You're more of a badass than you ever imagined. Keep coming back home to yourself and trusting that what's here, underneath all the noise and the chaos, is what will really guide you home. If you want to dive deeper into the idea of those patterns I talked about earlier, don't forget to catch my video on healing relationship patterns. I'm here with you, and you're going to make it.